left.
Because we didn't. So yeah, I just talked about how whenever I tend to drink, I lose my voice because of it. And my throat will hurt, all of that. So that's definitely a consequence of it, because this is not a good time, because now I'm struggling to speak. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, the consequences of our actions as it pertains to health. Because we're in a huge health epidemic right now. And it's really only a matter of how did we get here and what does the future hold for us as a country, the world in general. But we're probably going to focus more so on America, because we kind of have the worst end of it as far as like all the first world countries that deal with this issue. So yeah, we're going to be discussing the health epidemic and how we got here. And that encompasses, when we talk about health, we're talking about everything encompassing physical, mental, spiritual, the overall encompassing our well-being, right? We're also going to discuss how God tells us to view and handle our personal health. So let's get into it.
All right.
Right? We're going to be, actually, let me read off a few statistics, or just a few things that I found interesting.
Give the people some of that good data.
So in a 2021 edition of the U.S. Healthcare from a Global Perspective report provided by the Commonwealth Fund, it was reported that people in the U.S. experienced the worst health outcomes overall of any high-income nation. That's crazy.
So that means that it's not just us or like the wealthy. It's not just them like eating right. It really becomes the mindset behind it. I think that we have all the knowledge in the world right now, but the thing is, a lot of times we don't want one to tell us when we're wrong. It's just like, hey, I got this good advice for you. It's like, hey, who are you? Because I'm at a certain status to where I can't receive anything from you. Because I don't deem you worthy enough, because that in itself is an unhealthy mindset, Yeah. And of course, those things, what you eat, as I guess the old adage would say, you are what you eat. And I think there is some truth to that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, because at the end of the day, it does stem from our habits, which are things that stem from our mind.
Yes.
So, which is funny, because another finding in this same report says that the U.S. has the lowest life expectancy at birth and the highest death rates for avoidable or treatable conditions. We have the highest death rates for avoidable and treatable conditions.
Yeah.
That means we can avoid them, but we're dying the most from these things.
Yeah, it's because I think that we're at a point to where, of course, everything is about the moolah. Everything is about the bottom line. When you're talking about the big pharma, everything is a quick fix. Like, hey, you got this ailment, we got this pill for you. It's not going to fix the problem, but it will basically suppress it enough to where you think that it is taking you out of that dis-ease.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because people don't understand, like, the wording is like everything. So we tend to say disease. Really, it's a dis-ease, meaning it's something that shouldn't be a part of what you was already created for. Like, of course, in the kingdom, when God first created us, or created us, it wasn't anything dealing with disease
until we fell from humanity.
Exactly.
Fell from grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I like what you were saying about the quick fix, because that's kind of what our first topic relates to, which is diet culture, and how is diet culture a problem? Is this something we need to be looking into? Because when it comes to diet culture, there's so many facets of it that it can end up being very confusing and frustrating for people that really do want to live a healthy lifestyle, but they're not sure how. And so they depend on certain diets to help them reach their goals. But it's either maybe the diet doesn't agree with their body, or maybe they're not doing the diet completely, and they just maybe don't have the discipline to do it. Or maybe there's something within the diet itself that's unhealthy, you know? Like, I was just talking to you about how people who run marathons and stuff like that, like they used to like carb load before the marathon.
Exactly.
But now that's considered, you know, unhealthy to do. And I was like, well, now what do? You probably fuel up on proteins, right? Like, isn't that, because you used to run track. So is that something you would do?
Well, I mean, definitely the protein thing, but I think that our body compositions is very different. And it's also, I mean, of course, it's the same because we're all human beings, but at the same time, your body may, like for a lot of protein or a lot of carbs, it may, you may have a different outcome than I may have. But like from a protein standpoint, I think you need to eat like light things that has good fats, and just real like salmon. I think salmon is probably like one of the best. I'm gonna say like the wild caught salmon. That's like the best. That doesn't have all of the I would say the growth hormones that they put in farm raised things and stuff like that. So yeah. I think it just all depends. Of course, everybody know about fruits, but not having too much. I think it's just really you understanding and listening to your body, because part of health and dieting. And I want to actually kind of I'm not gonna say segue, but just to our listeners, dieting. What dieting means is your ability to restrict, but also definitely manage everything about what you're doing and everything. So just definitely understand that it's a certain type of discipline. So
yeah, no, it really is. It's so funny. You talked about how wild caught salmon is like the healthiest of all the salmon types that you can pretty much get, and I agree with you. But then recently I heard that it's not, like it's the worst one. I'm like,
what?
Oh my God. Yeah. And that's the thing about this diet culture that we're in. It's like you never really know what you're eating. And then when you think you know what you're eating, it may not be as healthy as you might think. And then the fruit thing, right? What you were just saying about, adding fruits to your diet, but maybe not too many because it's all sugary and stuff like that, right? Well, I know someone who's a fruitarian. All he eats is fruits. Like, and he's fairly healthy. I would think. I don't know his health history, but yeah, it's, it brings me to a few videos, a few TikToks that I want to watch because it kind of encompasses the cultural problem of diet culture itself. So I'll bring up the first video. See, she said she's not afraid of, whatever.
Lion, tigers, and bears.
Yeah, exactly. But diet culture made her scared of eating a whole banana. I can relate to that. Because even the fruit thing, like for a long time, I tried to eat like a bunch of fruits, to put, healthy things into my system. Yeah. And now I'm hearing fruit is too sugary. You shouldn't eat it all the time like that. And I'm like,
I actually, to be honest, I really don't agree with that at all. I really just think that
at all.
Well, you said, as far as eating too many, fruits. I think that of course, if you're not balancing it out with like water or just and also water soluble things. I mean, fruit is a water soluble.
See, who pays attention to terms like that? I don't.
I mean, because it's in it, a lot of stuff that grows from the earth is water soluble, and it creates its own type of fruit juice, which is, I think it's H3O.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
I
So
touched
like
on
watermelon,
that.
it's a actually H3O type of, a liquid that our, body needs to survive. And I've heard some of the craziest things to where people say, hey, we're not supposed to even be drinking water. That's stupid. Just go out there in the desert and be out there for 30 days and 30 nights like Jesus.
You'll take any water at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll be trying to suck the juice out of a cactus.
Cactus juice. Aww, you like Avatar now.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
Everybody.
those who don't know, that was an Avatar: The Last Airbender reference that he just made. But
Yes.
yeah. Anyway, no, yeah, seriously. But I can kind of understand. So it's like what you were saying about balance and listening to your body, because I really had to do that the past couple of years. Well, really past like couple decades, because like, for example, I haven't been able to fully consume watermelon. Like, I'm allergic to it. And you could talk to someone else and they'll be like, but watermelon's healthy. And I'll be like, yeah, it's healthy, but not for me. So what does that tell you? Like, everyone's body is different.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned, earlier. Like, even when they made the biometric system for, because the I would say Western medicine made like, hey, if you're 5'8" and you need to be 145 pounds, which is the perfect weight for
Isn't
you.
that the BMI thing?
Yeah. It's biometric.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
I swear I didn't know. That's BMI. Wait, what does BMI stand for?
I forgot, but
I thought it was body measurement index.
Yeah.
That's biometrics too?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Is it really?
Our producer needs to fact check that,
Right, because I don't know.
I can't remember.
I feel like they're two
everything.
different things, because I think the body mass index is what you said,
But it definitely
aligns.
relates to the body.
Yeah, it does. Because like BMI, it like relates the height to weight ratio of like what's appropriate depending on your height, and then biometrics, what I just got done for the first time like a month ago, it literally expands into your muscle and body fat composition inside your body, and it's actually pretty cool. Everyone should do it. Actually, everyone should try to get their biometrics done to kind of see where you are.
Exactly. So that is our health tip of the day. Go and get yourself checked out, because just because you look good and you may even feel good, I still think that it's always good to have that precursor, or that you just making sure that you are trying to be just responsible, because as you get older, your body changes and stuff doesn't break down.
I started noticing that. I started getting random aches, like in my knee, in my thigh, and like in my forearm. Like I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
and then it started happening around 26. I was like, I don't get random aches and pains. I even still get them, and I actually work out consistently now.
Yeah, but she been hard in the gym. Her in Kenya,
Sure have.
Shout out to Kenya.
Week 4 coming up.
She actually got Miracle on her grind.
She did. She even got me waking up at 6 a.m. This is how dedicated I am. I don't wake up at no 6 a.m.
Exactly. So as you see that we're not just talking and telling people.
We do this.
Yes.
No, really, because get your blood work done too. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I got my blood work done about a year ago. Found out I had high cholesterol. You would never think, right?
Yeah.
But when you get your blood work done, you can see kind of everything that's going on. You can kind of see your iron levels. Actually found out my iron was too high, and I had to adjust my diet. It was too high. Usually for women, it's too low. So I was very confused. I'm like, what am I doing where my iron is too high? So I had to look at my diet. I take chlorophyll pills every day, 6 of them. At that point,
she overcompensates people sometimes.
no, I don't. That's what the packaging said to do. And it was working. I was putting greens in my system, because I don't eat greens every day. I don't. But I realized,
that's a thing right there.
I realized from a random comment on a Dr. Berg video, shout out to Dr. Berg, that I was taking too much chlorophyll, and that was raising my iron levels. So I decreased it.
Well, she actually didn't need Dr. Berg for that because I told her that. And
That's not what you said.
I promise you.
That's not what. No. You said that
I said
I might have been taking too much, but you had no basis for saying that.
Well, see, I'm operating in the spirit, so in my spirit, I felt like you was.
So I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of my body, the body the body that is borrowed.
Here's the difference between biometrics and body mass index. So body mass index is basically just the derivative, the value derived from the mass or your weight and height of a person.
Okay.
So it's basically just the, I
height
guess
to weight ratio.
The ratio, yeah.
Okay.
And I guess there's ideal heights and weights for specific people at specific heights. And then biometrics is, what a lot of people are getting into with fingerprints, facial recognition, eye scans, different things like that. So basically how you identify a person. So the unique the physiology of people.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
the fingerprints,
that makes sense.
That DNA, blood, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's probably way more accurate because I've heard a long time ago that, BMI
Hopefully
has
everybody
been...
heard that as well, so.
Yeah, they should,
Right.
They should have heard it.
Right,
Okay.
right. And I was saying biometrics are probably way more accurate because with the BMI system, I know that's been like not debunked, but turned over as not as accurate like years ago, which, that makes sense because, muscle weighs more than fat. And so you got, people like me who are trying to build more muscle. And so I might gain more weight due to the muscle gain. And so my BMI might look like it's a little off or something like that, right? And so it's not accurate for everybody. But I would say for a regular sedentary person who doesn't have any particular thing they're trying to accomplish with their body, I would say the BMI is probably accurate to you to a certain degree and a good system to at least start off with. Exactly. But definitely biometrics would be a lot more accurate.
Yes.
And blood work. Get that blood work done.
Yes. I got something that you kind of brought it up. So you know how I would say when we was little, maybe we were at grade school or like second or third grade, or even just reading on a milk carton at school, they would have that little food chart. And, that food chart was like, hey, you need to get grains, you need to get milk, blah, blah, blah. And
food pyramids also been thrown out.
Exactly. Because all of that was just a marketing thing.
Glad you said that. Next video.
Yep.
Put that on.
Watch out for this diet culture marketing the next time you're at the store. All food is guilt-free, it's not an ingredient. Net carb is also not a regulated term. There's no definition of a superfood. It's all pretty super, except the ones you maybe don't like. Wellness doesn't necessarily make it better, and junk also not an ingredient. And just because you can't pronounce an ingredient doesn't mean it's bad. And the term fit was everywhere. Eating these things won't determine your fitness level. When that grinds my personal gears, the term clean, if there's no dirt on it, it's clean. And sometimes the healthiest choice is choosing the real ice cream or the real pasta. Remember not to let food marketing dictate your choices.
That's so funny because I'm literally in the marketing industry. Like I work in the marketing industry and I still fall for all this.
Yeah. See, I don't. I'm more old school. I'm more one of them rugged country people from Mississippi, which I am from Mississippi. So shout out to all my Mississippi people who watching. But yeah, I never just really allowed stuff like that to like get to me. Like I never been a person to want to eat the high protein bars and stuff like that. And that is before I actually was in the industry. So I'm a sales engineer, and I've been to some places that will really, really shock you all on what they're putting inside of a lot of the clean and protein stuff that we say. Yes, protein is protein, but not all protein is good protein.
And I didn't know that until I talked to you. Like I didn't realize, like when we went to go get smoothies one day, right? Yeah. And they were asking if I want to get protein in it. I'm like, of course, I want protein in it. But then you're like, well, ask them what type of protein that they have. Exactly. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, and you said that it could probably be soy protein. And I was like, I never even thought about that.
Yep.
And you're like, ask if they have plant protein to substitute it if they normally put soy in it. I was like, I never even thought about that.
Exactly. So the marketing term is that, yes, we have plant protein, which the soybean plant is
a protein.
Exactly.
I mean, is a plant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's marketed to us like, oh yeah, I'm healthy because I'm eating a plant, but a plant that has been on the molecular level, it has been changed. The whole composition has been changed just so it could fit whatever that company needs to use it for. So of course, I'm just so I won't get in trouble, but I've been.
Yeah, don't say too much.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Illinois, and
you already said too much.
But anyway, I'm already there. I was in Illinois, and I was at this plant, and I was like, man, there's a lot of soybean out there, and how they actually break it down, and then of course turning it into a powder, blah blah blah. But of course, it's almost like if you go to the store and you say, hey, the cheaper option of cranberry juice is a cranberry juice concentrate, is where they, you're going to use a derivative of that cranberry juice or whatever. So, and so you're not going to get like I would say the main and the good.
You're not getting actual cranberry juice.
Yeah, you getting
but they still call it cranberry
juice. Yeah. So you're getting it, but it's not. It's almost if you filter something too much to where that it's not even healthy no more. It's just like if you mix. Okay, you got water, and then you put a tea bag or some Kool-Aid in there, and you put sugar. The more sugar that you put in it, it's no longer
you can no longer call it water.
Exactly. It has water in it.
Yeah.
And so
what doesn't,
Exactly. And so people like, oh yeah, I'm drinking this, I'm drinking my protein shake, it has water in it, blah blah blah. I see it all the time because I'm a very visual person. When I'm at Starbucks, okay, coffee itself isn't bad, but people don't think about the amount of sugar that's in each one of those pumps of syrup that they put in there.
It's not even coffee at that point.
Exactly, because
it's ice cream.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's actually up to like 12 to 26 cubes of sugar. That's in like 6 pumps. Because I see it, they do 3 pumps of this, 3 pumps of this, and so you marketing. In the health industry is everything, so we definitely got to be careful on what we put in our bodies, and also how it can affect our mood and our system, and also what we even passing down to our kids and everything.
Yeah, that's so true, because I always think about, I follow a lot of fitness influencers and people who make, meal prep and talk about health and wellness and stuff like that, because those are things I'm interested in. And then, they'll talk about these things and you'll see progress in their bodies and, the foods that they eat. And then they'll do an announcement maybe 3 years later saying they have cancer, or saying they have fibroids, or saying they, have pre-diabetes. And you're like, but this is the healthiest person that I've ever seen. How can they get these things? And it's because of what they're consuming, and they don't realize that that's actually doing harm to their bodies.
Yeah.
Contrary to what they believe. Because a lot of them, for example, people don't realize we actually really should not be eating grains like that.
Yeah. And she actually put me on that. And at first I was like, I thought... eating oatmeal and
I know,
all of that
because I'm
stuff
actually
is
surprised
good.
You just agreed with me.
Yeah.
Because you tried to fight me on that for
a
minute.
I did. You
but things like
throw shots,
but things like that can add on specific free radicals in your body that can cause cancer later on.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so crazy. How much we don't know that what we're doing to our bodies. And, at some point you just got to trust God and believe that, he can get you through whatever that you're going through. And so there's that. But it's at the same time, being mindful about what you're consuming and how your body reacts to it. That's why I say get blood work done and pay attention to what you're consuming and what you're buying in the stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, and far as a Avatar quote, because I've been watching so much Avatar.
Oh, you a fan. Wow.
Uncle Iroh said, "Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame."
You did a pretty good impression.
Yes.
It was a pretty good one.
It's not good enough.
Oh. So.
Yeah, you gotta really weigh it out more.
Yeah.
True humility. See, I can't do it with my voice right now.
Okay, Zuko. You have to listen.
What are you doing?
So,
Okay,
if you all haven't watched Avatar,
many gems. If you haven't watched it, you just don't know.
We're going to eventually, talk about everything because
we are.
Yes, because there's so much spiritual food on Avatar that it's not just a cartoon. It's a lifestyle. It's a brand in itself, and it will bring some awakening to just anybody that's willing to listen and grow. And that's what this podcast platform is all about. It's about us being conscious about ourselves and also who we are and how we want to be in this world, and also understanding that life is really a continuous improvement and it's a journey and not a destination. And so when you learn things, you want to be able to share it, and that's what we try to do, and we do as Christians, is that, hey, I love you as my brother or my sister, no matter what your background is. I love you so much that based on what we know and what we put our faith in, we don't want you to lose your life and not know the real true love of Christ.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, and this all of this definitely plays into what we're talking about right now. So we want to regurgitate what we have learned so that you can actually benefit from it, and then you can also help others, because we want to build a community here at the Conscious Outlet and the Quality Entertainment Group. And so that is really, really important. I think we as people got to get away from the victim mentality. I don't care what's your background. A lot of times people look at what we're talking about as, oh, once I say something that may hurt your feelings or whatever. And you know what? I like to give real examples or whatever. So it's been times that we have talked about like the word pride, because I have a friend or a Instagram friend. Anything that we said that was about correction or reproof, he has a problem with it. And I'm like, man, we're not even talking about the LGBT thing. I'm like, man, we want like, this is our opinion. And hey, you either can take it or you don't, and then you move on. But this is what our platform is about. We want to truly build a community, and it's okay if you offend somebody if it's going to benefit them in the future. There may be someone watching this right now in another country, be like, you know what? I can tell that this guy really cares, and he's not trying to, bash anybody or, trying to be a bigot or whatever. Because anything that I come on here and actually talk about, I actually live. Not perfect, not even near that. But what I am claiming is just like what a lot of other people is like, hey, I'm a work in progress, and I think that you should be too. So listen to the intent rather than what you feel like, because feelings are fleeting. I feel a lot of things. Sometimes I feel like cussing somebody out, but hey, we gotta move on from that or whatever. So yeah, that's my little segue. That's my little strawberry letter to all of our subscribers and followers, and make sure you do like and comment right now if you got any questions. But yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like you said, we're all about continuous improvement, which is why we're talking about health today and, how it can really affect our lives and the lives that we're trying to live. And so I want to look at, this next video, if we have that up.
That's the one you don't have. I have the last one.
Okay, that's fine. Either one.
Doesn't it seem so strange that our society eats so much junk food that eating real food is considered dieting?
Think about that.
That is deep.
When I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, that is so true, because I really try to get in a ketosis state. So basically trying to be on a quote unquote keto diet for the most part, not perfectly at all. But that includes me eating a lot of what the TikToker was saying, eating a lot of real foods.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because why would that be considered a diet? It should just be considered
because a lot of
lifestyle.
us are lazy. People think because I got family, friends, or coworkers, they eat lean cuisines and stuff, and yes, it has the marketing label of it being lean or healthy, but it's super highly processed stuff. And I'm like, ain't no way that you can think that this is nowhere healthy. Anytime that something
they're probably not concerned about health.
I mean, one of the people I know, they are concerned about the, I'm gonna say you can be concerned, but you also can be ignorant as well at the same time. It's like you can have something good right in your face and it's like, but this is easier because cooking takes time. Cooking takes patience. You actually having a garden. It's not something like the mindset of it. And I might be, throwing some shots at Miracle very soon because she wants a garden. And she was like, oh yeah, let's just have a garden. And I'm like, well,
never said it was easy. I don't know why he's doing this, but okay.
But at the same time, people don't know the work that it takes behind it, understand it. I'm not saying you, but you know what I'm saying,
people, shade at me.
I was using it as a precursor just in case it comes in the future. Yeah. So let that sizzle in your spirit.
Okay.
So.
Anyway, yes. So dieting is something that everyone has probably done at least once in their life, or stuck to some kind of meal plan for themselves to reach certain body goals. I think we've all kind of done that. Even if it was just to say, hey, I'm not going to eat those fries today,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. So, but let's get to what the word has to say about our health and the way we should be taking care of our bodies.
Okay. 2 Peter 1:3. His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life through our knowledge of him who called us by his own glory and goodness.
Thank you for that, because my voice is cracked.
Yeah, she over here sounding like Hannah Montana.
That doesn't make sense. I don't know why with that. No, anyway. The Bible doesn't prescribe any specific diet, right? But it does highlight the principle of balance. And we talked about that. Between healthy restraint and enjoyment of rich foods. So in other words, let's just all plan to make a habit of disciplined, healthy eating for our bodies, But on occasion, let yourself enjoy a feast.
Yeah.
Especially of God's good gifts. And so looking forward to the feast will kind of help you keep going during the seasons of restraint, because that's what I do. I eat well all week, and then I eat those 3 chocolate chip cookies on the weekends.
Yes.
And they always make my day.
Indulgence.
Yes. Exactly. You know, proper restraint, discipline, and enjoyment after. It helps you also to have that what's it called? Long-term, what's it called? You know what I'm trying to say.
Long-term fulfillment.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So long-term fulfillment. So, yeah, you know, that's something we should all practice at the end of the day. And your diet won't be perfect. Your body will never be perfect. Just make sure you keep in mind what's good for your body and pay attention to that. Yeah. So,
and you know, this, you kind of sparked this. This actually came on my spirit. So, Matthew 6:33, seek ye first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So that in itself shows me that, hey, having some type of delayed gratification, and you're sowing. We actually, our pastor at the church earlier today, he actually spoke about sowing. And so when you are dieting, when you are when you're on that path, understand you may not see all the results, because a lot of times we are so quick to want and see the results first manifest itself in the present. And that's not how it always does. A lot of times within the body, it actually takes time. Just like, a seed. The seed has everything inside of it, I am a big person, and I always like to know how is a seed and everything is basically formed or whatever. But if you got some, it's basically formed or whatever. But if you got some, yeah. So yeah, it is definitely something that's important. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, diet culture, it can be confusing in a lot of ways. It's definitely good to just take a moment to sit back and ask yourself what your body needs, and to always go to the source for the answer. Always do that. But when we come back, it's going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to talk about, is obesity a choice? Ooh. All right. Join us next time. Thanks.
Amen. Amen.
Quality. Welcome back. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. Thanks for joining. Make sure you like the video for the algorithm. Okay? Get those subscriptions up. Right? Subscriptions?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Get them subs right.
Exactly.
And I ain't talking about
subs. We just got done discussing diet culture and how it pertains to our view on our health, and especially our personal health, because there's a health epidemic going on right now, and we got to talk about it. So, but now we're going to be discussing something a little more controversial, I guess.
Yes, we need some controversy.
Yeah.
I like controversy.
I bet. We're going to be discussing if obesity is a choice.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. What do you think initially?
Of course, everything is a choice. Obesity, you can be skinny, you can be pleasantly plump, and it's really just on you wanting, just you really wanting it. Like, hey, do I want to live a long time as much as I can? Because I was talking to this one guy, and it surprised me because he was like always like hawking, like if you all know what I'm talking about, like they had like some coal in their throat and stuff all the time. And I'm like, I said, hey man, I said, man, just get it out. He was like, what you mean? I was like, you always like I said, man, you got it like right there. Just get it out. He was like, well, that's a family thing or whatever. I said, well, man, I said that might be like a problem that your body is showing you that you probably need to get it situated. And he was like, well, if I die, I die. He was like, it's okay. I mean, I'm like, so if you can prevent it, you telling me that you would not address that issue? And that's the thing when I said that people can be so blinded and ignorant in their own knowledge that they will create their own demise. And so you can't help everybody. And I ain't trying to help everybody. You either coming or not, because you definitely can't follow a car that ain't moving. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, for me, obesity, for the most part, is a choice. And there's a lot of factors in it that make me come to that conclusion. A lot of it stems from ignorance of one's body, ignorance of health in general, ignorance of what's good for your body, and a lot of misinformation out there as well about what you can do to prevent things. But I do think for the most part, obesity is something that you can and should address if that is a problem for you. What is your question?
Oh, you see how she just, what is your question?
Because I'm already talking too much.
You good.
What's up?
All right, I need you to tighten on up now.
Don't do that on air.
But I was going to ask you that, do you think that we're not as much in tune with our body, mind, and spirit, and that's one reason that we've been driven every which way, depending on what guru a person comes out of, like us actually being able to meditate in that avatar state, so we can listen to those subtle things, so we can be able to make whatever choices and decisions that we make, what we should put in our bodies, what we should read, what we should not listen to, basically all the things that we consume. So I just wanted to see, what do you think? You think that we're not as much as in tune?
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. I agree we're not in tune like we should be. And that's a lot of the reason for that is because we become disconnected with everything in recent years, as far as with each other, with our own bodies. Technology plays a huge role in that, and it's just one of those things where we really got to be intentional about coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, as it pertains to if obesity is a choice, I wanted us to kind of watch a little bit of this video where a doctor is reacting to a debate of people who are actually talking about this very topic, and I kind of wanted to get your input on it.
It's going to be a worthwhile watch. Let's get started.
Being fat or skinny is a choice.
This is a very polarizing question. I think it's a false dichotomy. I don't think you have to say it's one thing or another. But their community seems to say that it's not a choice. So that's interesting.
Being skinny or being fat is about willpower, who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to kind of have as your friends around you and support you. All of those things are choices that you can make.
Yeah, and you could easily point it in the other direction and talk about the genetic components, the importance of those who raised you, and how they taught you to think about food, the way that the frontal lobe developed when you were a child, meaning that if you had higher exposure to fatty foods growing up or unhealthy foods or ultra-processed foods, you may have a preference for that. It's not as simple as just this choice.
Even with the genetics that cause you to want.
So what do you think about that? The doctor basically just explained that there are a lot of factors that can contribute to obesity that aren't always particularly our choice, from our environment to the way our brain develops and other things. So what do you think?
Nature versus nurture. I truly believe that because you got to think about it, our bodies and our mind and everything, especially as a kid and child, all we do is consume. We are a informational magnet. And so as a younger kid, if you are consuming not just fatty foods, but you're consuming negative things, it's going to eventually affect you in your relationships in the future. It's going to affect your mental health. And that in itself is a whole nother hemisphere when we're talking about like the epidemic even in mental health, but right now we're talking about just like your physical health and how it is affecting you in so many ways. But it's based on the culture and the philosophy that has been taught to you, but not also taught to you, that you've been kind of indoctrinated to it. And so fried chicken and green beans and cornbread and mac and cheese was considered a good meal in my family. Like, man, this is good food. Yes, it tastes good, but it's not the best thing because there's so many trans fat, it's grease, it's a whole bunch of things that our body, I would say, if you go back to like Adam and Eve in the garden, I'm quite sure, and eventually I give you all a fact check or whatever, but a lot of it was probably a plant-based thing because it's a garden, and that's what Adam had to tend to, and so our bodies have adapted, but it can only do so much, and we're overeating. I know that we're overeating. Even my grandmother, I love her so much. She feels like she has to have a full meal every day, even for breakfast. And like my mom and I, we're slowly trying to get her from out of that mindset because it is affecting her health, and also it affects her mind. Just like one of my grandfathers, he has dementia now, and he's been getting those quote unquote good meals ever since he was probably 7 years old. That same thing of all the, yes, sweet potato is good for you, but how you process it of sugar, cinnamon, blah, 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 all of that. And we consume that over time. We don't, actually have physical health, because the word does say, hey, physical health is of, good benefit, but that's only part of it, which leads to the spiritual, the mental, and all of that. And so I think we have to get to the point to where that we start to embrace discipline in what we consume, even from a media standpoint, and not get caught up in the things that are alluring. So you have this person who is pretty well known on social media, and they say, hey, do this, doing that may be good for them. And you all got to realize This is social media, and so a lot of stuff it's for show. Some things are for show. A lot of these TikTok people, I've known people who actually look like they got it all together, and the person who going to go put internet in somebody's house, they find out doctors and lawyers, they don't even got furniture in this big nice crib that they got. So I'm just saying that just be careful of what you are consuming in that little pyramid of all the things that you got to consume in order to actually be healthy as a person overall. So
yeah, I can agree with that, because as the doctor was speaking, I was thinking to myself, well, those factors shouldn't be reasons for you to not be able to make a change in your life. I think it's important to be aware of what could possibly be stacked against you and move off of that, basically. Like, for example, I know that the women in my family, we tend to get fibroids and things of that nature. And because I know that, I do specific things in my diet to prevent that from affecting my fertility in the future for when I want kids and things of that nature. So, especially because I'll be passing this knowledge on to my future daughter or daughters. So, want to make sure she has that information as well. Men, make sure that y'all just listen to what she just said. So she's preparing herself. So like whenever she have kids, that she be able to put herself in the best possible position. We tend to think that I was watching something. We tend to think that it's just like the female, that, hey, if a miscarriage happens, it's on her. No, it's actually on us and what we consume. If you're heavy drinking alcohol and all of that stuff. As a man, yes.
As a man, I'm saying alcohol and eating all of this stuff. And, we all see the increase in with autism and just a whole bunch of things that was kind of uncommon, I would say, back then or whatever, or at least it definitely seemed more uncommon. It's getting, I think autism like rose, like, I think it was 43% or whatever that I think I was reading something. That's
alarming. Cause why?
Yeah. Exactly. And then, like I said, what we consuming, we so used to getting our phone and then scrolling to the next thing, What you doing is training yourself to only to not even pay attention to things that's over 10 seconds. Or, I read something, it's like people don't their attention goes away after reading something that has 125 characters. That's not a lot.
No, it's like 2 sentences.
Yes.
2 full sentences.
Come on with it. Look at you.
But yeah, I completely agree. Let's watch a little bit more of the video.
Eat more. The same solution is calories in, calories out.
The calories in, calories out thing is true. But then there needs to be a little bit of nuance here. And that nuance is certain calories will lead you to metabolize foods differently. Certain calories will lead you to want to consume more or less of a certain food. And certain calories can be unhealthy for you for other reasons other than your weight. This is why we're always against starvation diets or heavily restrictive diets on this channel, because in many instances they actually create more problems like eating disorders, disordered eating, unhealthy habits, etc.
I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very.
Yeah, I didn't realize that when I was growing up, my understanding of a calorie was that calories are calories. Like, it didn't really, yes, I knew certain foods were probably healthier than other foods, but I thought in general, it's like the saying, what'd they say? When you eat like a bunch of gross stuff and they're like, well, it all ends up in the same place, something like that.
Yeah.
I always think that way about calories. And so he taught me something just then where, certain calories make you metabolize different foods differently. I didn't realize that. I knew that, but I didn't make the connection. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So.
young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid. And I never had like that leaning parent to be like, go and get checked out, go and do this. Like your weight is probably not your fault. It was always like your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
That's an unhealthy mindset. If I have a patient that has not been worked up for a thyroid condition, for other reasons why someone may be carrying excess weight, we absolutely would check those things. If you have low thyroid hormone, we can give you thyroid hormone to boost those levels up.
I mean, I also struggle with, thyroid and my own blood issues. I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist, and I go see a doctor.
And that's not available to everyone in the United States, especially those who don't have health insurance or are underinsured. And some people are insured, don't have adequate transportation, or they don't have paid time off from work.
As a disabled woman, I can't do a lot of things that people say calories in, calories out. Oh, you gotta go work out and exert it. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication, because doctors put me in this position.
This is why the false dichotomy pops up in my head. If you're going to be very stringent in saying being overweight is a choice, full on, you're neglecting a significant part of the population who may be having a side effect of a medication, because there's many medications that we could put patients on to protect their health that as an unwanted side effect they put on weight, or they aren't able to lose weight as easily. And then there's those with disabilities that can't burn calories as easily as some who are able-bodied. So I think probably even a better conversation to be had here is obesity a disease? The AMA and all the major organizations have made it a disease process. They've labeled it a disease. The doctors who are saying that that's not helpful are usually pointing out that when a patient feels obesity a disease, they feel powerless to make the change. The way that I like to think about it is on a population level, it's certainly a disease because it affects our bodies negatively. It's certainly contributing to a public health epidemic. It's actually happening pandemic really across the world, obesity. On an individual level, we need to have providers who have good relationships with their patients to make the call. Is this something that I can present to my patient as a choice that will get them motivated? Or is this something that we can help them navigate through a medical perspective, where we can give them medications, surgeries, maybe lifestyle modifications if they are going to be motivated to it, and make that call on an individual level. But again, all medicine is practiced on population-based information and the research that we have there. And then we as providers have to look at our patients as individuals and apply that knowledge. So I still think on a population level it is a disease. And then how we attribute it to each patient and how we help each patient navigate their condition, that's going to be different. And that's okay.
I would rather be skinny than fat.
I fool with Dr. V. This is actually my first time actually, seeing him.
I think his name is Mike.
Yeah, his first name is Mike, but his last name begins with a V. I call him Dr. V.
Know his last name? I forgot his name completely.
Yeah, that's why I called him Dr. V.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw his name was Michael, but I thought that was cooler. But yeah, I like how he sectioned things out, and he's looking at people as individuals instead of trying to lump everything together. And that's something that I would say that I guess the beings or the powers that actually put out and promote all the things that they promote about health, that they group everybody in one. And I like that. He focused on the intersectionality of marginalized groups, because you have a person that has a disability, you have a person that may be of a different race or cultural background, and I think that, I know that hopefully I'm using the right word. I feel like the industry is definitely I can't even say the word exacerbating. Certain
exaggerating.
No. Exacerbating.
What's that?
Exacerbating.
Exacerbating. I don't know that word.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's so basically, just in this little section, it's so much to actually unpack. It's because when they talk about obesity, it's more than just obesity. It's because people, when they make the foods that we eat that creates the unhealthy mindset, they know that it's addictive. And so if they keep you, who's watching this, if they keep us on, if they keep us addicted, that means that they will forever have a person that's going to continue to buy from them, because it's a drug at that point. I will never forget the things that I see sometimes when I'm around people. I'm like, going to McDonald's early in the morning. Like, I don't even eat McDonald's like that, but I saw a person who had probably like 4 McGriddles. Then they washed it down with like a large Coke. And I'm like, ain't no way that's, healthy at all. And then when I look at the person, yes, sometimes you can see that the person is unhealthy, but you may see a guy who got muscles and, and slender that's eating the same thing, and he's just as jacked up as the other guy. But that's the thing. They know that they got a customer forever. And so they don't look at the person as an individual. You're just a person that's going to be feeding my pocket. And if they dumb you down to the point to where, like, hey, anybody who says something against me not eating what I want to eat, they are against me and stuff like that, they're helping you create the most toxic mindset that you can actually have by someone not being able to give you some type of correction and reproof about your daily habits that not only is going to affect you, but it's going to affect your family. If you're not taking care of your body, don't you want to see your grandkids? You don't want to be able, you don't want to have to be taking medicine 24/7 and can barely walk up steps, can barely go here, or your body's so broken down that you can't even enjoy the rest of your life that you got left. So like, this is like bigger than, oh, you need to eat right. No, it's much larger than that. And that's what I like about this video. I like people to tell the truth. So this is a dope video. And, I got a shout out to you for finding that. So,
of course, no problem. I actually forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I remember. I used to watch this show. I think it still comes on. I don't actually know. But My 600 Pound Life on TLC. Yeah. I used to love that show because it addressed obesity on an individual level, where I got to actually see people change their lives through them developing better habits and then getting the surgery to top it off. So that way they can have a little bit of a nudge towards the right direction as it pertains to their weight and their health. Because Dr. Now, the one that performs these surgeries, he would always tell the patients, you have to have these habits before you get the surgery. So show me proof by losing 100 pounds next month, losing 50 pounds next month, lose about 40 more pounds this month. So I can see that you're on track to at least beginning these habits and forming these habits, so I can know that I'm not wasting my time by giving you this surgery. Because I do believe that, I don't think there's anything wrong with modern medicine coming in to have its way in the process of helping the individual get where they need to be. I think it can become a problem when you depend on that, which is what a lot of the patients who don't end up getting the surgery, because it kicks them out the program, that's what happens with them. They expect the surgery to fix everything. But he's like, no, you have to have the habits, because you're going to be just this big when I give you the surgery, because you never changed your eating habits. You never changed how much you move around. And so there's definitely a lot of factors that go into that. And so I think that's really important. But
discipline.
Yeah, we'll watch a little bit more of the video.
Exacerbate.
To make a problem worse.
Bad situation or negative feelings worse.
Exacerbate. I'm gonna start saying that. Word of the day: exacerbate.
Exactly. I could not pronounce it, but I knew what it meant.
I knew. Yeah, that's me. A lot of times, it's like I know what a word is.
Blame my country accent. So.
Nah, it's a hard word to say.
Exacerbate. See, I still can't say it.
And Dr. Mike's last name is Vershovsky.
Vershovsky.
See, that's why I called him Dr.
Mike.
That's why I call him Dr. V.
Yeah, just like Dr. Now on My 600 Pound Life.
Yep.
His name is like Dr. Nawal or something.
Yeah.
Or, I'm going to butcher it. But yeah, watch a little bit more of the video.
I think there's a lot of different struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger. I have a sister, she's 400 pounds, and she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema, and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I think what we're pointing out here is something that I frequently talk about the channel when people in the past have accused me of being fat phobic, where I'm aiming to not just prolong my patient's life and decrease their risk of disease, but also improve their quality of life. That's exactly what she's talking about. Being able to be independent, being able to wash yourself, have less strain on your knees, on your hips, developing arthritis early, which means that you can't exercise or move up and down on stairs in your home. And I think saying I would rather be skinny than fat doesn't mean necessarily that you hate yourself if you are in fact plus size. If you're seeking to improve because you're constantly unhappy with yourself, that might be an unhealthy coping mechanism. But if you're seeking to improve because you're seeking growth and you see it from a positive aspect rather than a hate aspect, then that could be a very healthy mechanism.
I had pause it right there. I thought that was a great point because I think there's a lot of in this space with this community, specifically like I don't know what to call it, the fat community or something like that.
No, I call it the...
No, don't...
I call it the South community.
Okay.
I'm just talking about people in general.
Oh,
it's like, oh, you got a phobia of this. No, this man trying to help you. I come from a different background to where, hey, say what you mean and mean what you say. Hey, no, I'm not finna back off this. Hey, no, this is going to help you and stop being soft. I'm women and men or whatever. Like people done got away from people really needing to just hear the truth.
I agree. Whew. I was gonna say, when it comes to like choosing to be fat or choosing to be skinny, like that kind of discourse that I hear a lot in this community, it always comes off as like, oh, you hate yourself if you'd rather be skinny. And I don't think that means that, because he's right. When it comes to being bigger, you move around less. And you just have a bigger risk of certain things that can be prevented. That does not say that being too skinny as well doesn't come with its own issues, because it absolutely does. I don't know those issues right now, but it absolutely does. And so I think it's important to make those distinctions and understand that you don't have to hate yourself just because you'd rather be a certain weight. Because now people are trying not to be, like you said, offensive and everything, because they're trying to say, oh, I'd rather say that I'm trying to get healthy, not I'm trying to reach a certain weight. Well, if you'd rather reach a certain weight, what's wrong with saying that? I don't see an issue with that. But because, we don't want to be controversial or hurt people's feelings in that manner. We'd rather say, I want to get healthy. And I've even said this before too, like I want to be healthy, and I do, but I also want my body to look a certain way. That doesn't mean that I hate the way I look right now. It just means I'm working towards something, and I'm gonna construct a plan to help me get there.
Yeah, I definitely like what you said, Miracle. See, me and Miracle is like yin and yang. Miracle is the person she's going to tell you the truth. See, me, I want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, that's not at all Christ-like. So
I want to hurt your feelings in a way that's going to direct change.
Is that with love?
Yes.
Are you doing it with love?
Yes. A lot of times, I would say 95% of the time or 90% of the time, I'm actually doing it with, love, because I really do care about people. I care about love. I care about your health. I care about, your future. I mean, I ain't gonna say I don't know why. It's the love of Christ, what God, Christ put in me. But I truly want people to, get what they need so they can get to where they're gonna go. I love I'm not saying that everybody's going to accept it how I accept it based on how I grew up. people used to tell me like some stuff that would make some of y'all go crawl up in a corner, or or jump off of a stack of books or something and try to hurt yourself. So I just believe in the old school mentality. Hey, just go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid. I don't got time to be like, oh.
Well, I like to soak it in warm water, so.
Well, yeah. See,
I don't rip it off.
Yeah, because you grew up a little bit different, y'all new school kids.
I'm a millennial, so I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway,
would you? Before we go, I just wanted to do something that's like super random.
Oh my God. What?
I wanted to say how Kevin Hart did when he was talking to a person. Like when she said, yeah, I got a, for her being so small, and she's like, yeah, I got a sister that's 400, pounds. I wanted to be like, damn,
Sorry. That's what he said.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh God, that is so funny. I gotta find that video. But yes, so we just went through that video of, is obesity a choice? And again, there are a lot of factors that go into it. But at the end of the day, let's just take care of the bodies that God lent us, because that's what's most important here. The conscious way quote of the day for this segment is, he wants you to take care of the body he's lending you so you can be healthy and used for his glory.
Yes.
Amen. But those are our thoughts, so let us know yours in the comments. Next, we're going to talk about glorifying mental illness. Is that what we're doing here? We'll be right back.
Right back.
Like for the algorithm.
Gary.
Amen.
Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. We are officially a part of the Quality Entertainment Network, and we are so happy to be here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And we're here to discuss the intersection of culture, faith, media, so we can inspire some practical solutions to some huge societal challenges that we're facing today. So let's work together to get this done. Hey guys, we're back. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J. Eating popcorn.
Welcome back to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. Make sure you like the video for the algorithm.
And send this video to somebody. Somebody need to hear this. This just like in church. Somebody needs a blessing, and let this be their blessing. Right?
Amen to that. Amen to that. So make sure you subscribe, share the video, like the video, all that good stuff, so we can keep bringing you content like this. We just got done talking about how obesity, if it is a choice or not. We came to a lot of interesting conclusions regarding that topic. And now we're going to get into something else that I think will be also just as interesting. Do we glorify mental illness? We're going to go through a video today that kind of exposes what's going on in the culture right now of people taking on different personas and especially those pertaining to mental illnesses. It's actually pretty interesting, so we're going to tune into that. But do you think that we glorify mental illness as a culture? What are your initial thoughts?
Do we glorify it? I think we do, but we don't try to. I think we try to lend some type of assistance to actually help with it, but it ends in a glorifying type of, way. The world doesn't work how it used to where people are more strong-willed. A lot of people are plagued by the things that they see and they hear, and so and also there is a need for community, and that's why this podcast was created again. People are definitely in need of that community. So it's I think it's definitely it's really, really plaguing. I'm gonna say our children more than anything.
Yeah.
And I really just think that people. Okay, we as people, we made social media. So social media actually is highly contributing to all of these false narratives of you having to be perfect, you wanting to be a part of a group because you feel like that you are an outsider. Like, I actually have way more respect for people who may, I'm just gonna give an example. I ain't calling nobody out. Somebody may carry around like a suitcase of Pokemon cards and go pay and go play in the park with swords and stuff. I actually saw this last week.
Like what they call it? Not
Dungeons,
cosplay, but
I'm like Dungeons and Dragons.
Live action role
Yeah.
play. LARPing.
Yeah, LARPing. Okay, I never heard that word before, but
Yeah.
okay. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was very amused by these guys that I actually saw, and they don't even know I was a admirer from afar. They had their swords out there, and like they on that hill. Yeah, take this.
I would have played.
Kaput Draconis, and
That sounds fun.
I actually saw a guy. He reminded me of a scene of.
You're not saying that's mental illness, are you?
No, Harry Potter. I was saying that like I like these guys is because they're not allowing the world to shape what they like and love, which can cause mental illness. A lot of people, the reason why mental illness is where it is because people feel like, if I'm not cool, I'm not this, I'm not that. These guys, I really do vibe with that.
Having the time of their lives.
Exactly. Like, last night, it was, one worrying about somebody thinking that we can't dance or whatever. You just doing your thing, live to the beat of your drum.
Even if that drum is off beat.
I'm telling you.
We'll start adding that. That's a good one. That's a good quote.
Exactly.
Ooh, we got to put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
We were not offbeat.
Yes.
Everybody else was offbeat. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what? That had its place as well because it was amusing for me and my other constituents.
It was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was. We got to put that on a t-shirt.
Our constituents.
Right. Like what? But yes, want to get okay. Do I think we glorify mental illness? I think it's a lot of what you said. We do, but not on purpose. A lot of it has to do with, like what you were saying, our need to fit in and be. It's so weird. We have this need to fit in and stand out at the same time.
Yeah.
So we use these things to like help us call ourselves special while at the same time we're doing what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
So
oh my goodness.
It's a lot of playing on that, and that's why the glorifying of mental illness is something you regularly see in like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going through a time in that period of time where they're learning who they are, and they're especially learning who they are as it pertains to a group setting.
Yeah.
And social media, like you said, plays a big part in that. And so that's why I want to get into this video because it does touch on that. So
emerging of young people adopting mental illnesses. What I mean here is that in addition to all these other things, what a lot of us aren't considering is how we're basically giving our children the ability to view, glorify, and absorb mental illnesses they don't actually have. Something that should worry any parent in an era where depression and anxiety run rampant. This is basically a pretty common video that I found looking at TikTok from people in this age group. This has obviously got copyrighted music on it, so I took it out. But you get the sense, these people are always singing along to sad songs, and they always look really sad. And this girl's talking about going to the dentist, which I don't know. I mean, I went to the dentist the other week, and it really wasn't that bad. I mean, they even tried to like Novocaine my mouth up and stick needles in my mouth. So I don't know, like, girl, just eat your soup. Soup is good. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I just copyrighted stuff sucks.
I am this close to finding a bridge or tall building and seeing if I can fly. If I can, cool. If I can't, even better.
Yeah, so that last one definitely concerns me, and that makes me really sad for that young person. But I love the captions on these other ones that are like, my parents will never really understand what's going on, and here's how my day is going. I went to the dentist. Now, considering all the things I've seen from TikTok, I personally have spent a lot of time making fun of it, but never stopped to think about the mental health consequences that come about as a result of it. Then I happened upon this article. It reports that doctors are seeing a rise in tic-like behaviors among predominantly teenage girls. They say that this may be connected to TikTok. This particular article goes on to explain that pediatric hospitals have reported an increase in teenage girls coming in after developing tics, sudden twitches or noises that are a common symptom of Tourette's syndrome during the pandemic. The sudden rise is unusual, with tics typically occurring in boys, not girls. Experts in the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia studied the patients for months and consulted between hospitals, finding that the common factor between the girls was an interest in watching TikTok videos from influencers who said that they have Tourette's syndrome. The article goes on to add that
Wow. Hold up.
And
Wait a minute.
To my previous point, I should have added that we mainly see it in teenage girls. Because especially with teenage girls, there's a real factor of wanting to fit in and stand out at the same time. You see it with teenage boys too, but I think there's a reason why you see it in females more often than males, because the things that we're going through as teenage girls, you want to feel part of a group. And so that doesn't surprise me when I see a rise of young females who are developing tics because they're watching influencers with tics. And now they're seeing all the comments and all the views and all the accolades, and now they're like, oh, I might have tics. I might have Tourette's, you know?
See, as your humble favorite young uncle, so I've adopted myself to be everybody's favorite uncle, young uncle. A lot of this just doesn't sit well in my spirit. When I see like the young man saying, hey, I'm gonna jump off a building and see, can I fly? Or maybe I can, maybe I'm not. This comes from, if you think about this, and I like to give really good examples, real life examples. When I was younger in high school and stuff, yes, I played video games, but I had a mother or I had a stepdad that was like, hey son, you need to go outside and play. We played with the other kids from across the street, from the street that was around the corner and everything. We didn't have time to think about if we have anxiety, because it really wasn't a thing. The only anxiety that you had was probably if you had to do a presentation in front of the class. That was probably the only anxiety that you thought, like, man, I got a test that I didn't study for, so let me study while I'm on the school bus while we're heading to school. Like, there is nostalgia in that, and there is greatness in that, because now I'm looking back, I'm like, okay, when I get ready to have kids, are my kids, are they getting ready to, deal with that, and it's kind of alarming that if you think about this, what are the parents doing? At the end of the day, are you
probably giving into this?
Yes. Are you just accepting this? Like,
they're letting the children lead. I hear that so much now. Yeah, we're letting our children lead us. So if they tell us that they have Tourette's, we believe them.
So that right there shows you, because God had a certain structure on how he wanted us to be, we out of order. We have gone way past the hedges of protection to where it's like, hey, we no longer feel like we need God, and we no longer. I'm not going to say just we no longer feel like we need God. We no longer feel like we need His correction and reproof, which thus is the Bible, the Word. Because once you read it, you're like, okay, as a man, I have a responsibility that was given from a sovereign God to lead my family, but also teach them as well. And I'm supposed to continuously, grow and teach my son and my daughter based on my development as a Christ-like figure. Be as me, be as I, him. So it's kind of really, really sad, because I just can't. It's just really hard to actually see this, is because just like when I grew up, you didn't have this, and I had older people tell me the same thing, like, hey, the stuff that you feel like you dealing with, we weren't even thinking about that there was a problem back then. And I just feel like with each generation, it's actually getting worse, is because we're straying away from what the natural structure is supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, the word definitely says that, each new generation will be worse than the last.
Yep.
So you're right on the nose with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's watch a little bit more.
From Pediatric Hospitals published a study in August suggesting that since March 2020, referrals in the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, and Australia went from 1 to 2% to 20 to 35%. I'd like to note here just really quickly that I'm not saying that all of these girls are pretending to have tics. I'm sure some are. I'm sure that's the reason behind them doing it. But some of these might be entirely legitimate, given that tics can in fact be triggered from watching other people tick. I just want to make that clear. I've got to be honest, when I started writing this video, I wasn't expecting to find an article about how young girls are developing tics from watching TikTok videos, but what did I even really expect? It's 2021. And this is hell. What can I say? The puddings will tick, and I'll be over here quietly excusing myself from planet Earth. It's been fun, but no more. I'm also pretty sure that people tried to tie this story to another phenomenon called dancing mania, where in mainland Europe between the 14th and 17th centuries, people would just erratically, randomly burst into dancing. Together. Yeah. I don't know what's happening either. Now, what will inevitably get a little weirder for many of you is realizing that this adoption of mental illness, or the adoption at least of appearing mentally ill, is something that's a lot more common than we previously thought.
There's a genuine chance that the next person to misgender me might get a punch in the face, and I really don't know what to say because there's nothing I can do about it. Don't blame me. You're the one that misgendered me. My hands are just the ones that reacted.
Another article from July 2021 titled DSM-5 TikTok asked what happens when social media makes certain mental illnesses go viral. The author, who appears to be a psychiatrist, I guess, says that she quickly learned that dissociative identity disorder, previously known as multiple personality disorder, Tourette's, ADHD, and autism were exceedingly popular on the app, leading her and her colleagues to ask why mental health influencers were faking their mental illnesses.
I'm taking this off. I'm gonna take it off. Please don't. It's art.
What?
Don't take it off.
What?
Hello again. I should go. Name tag, did he change it?
Because we recently hit 40K, we're going to reintroduce ourselves. So we are the Angel System. We have about 200 alters. We are diagnosed by psychiatrists that we do have DID. And the body age is 17, and we're all happy to...
Rightly, they note that proponents of these mental health illnesses often glamorize disorders they don't actually have. This, I think, we could easily extend into why a lot of young people identify as non-binary or transgender or gender fluid and what have you, given that TikTok has a very loud and very big vocal community. Interestingly, if you look into the topic a little, you'll find many articles that say TikTok is the heartland of LGBTQ content. One Washington Post article even argues that TikTok has become the soul of the LGBTQ internet. Another tells us how non-binary and transgender creators are using the platform to inform, educate, and reach a broader audience. One self-proclaimed non-binary person noted that they get messages all the time from people all over the world who have recently come out of the closet and are struggling with their own identity. These people then thank this non-binary creator, I guess, for their videos, thank them for coming out and the confidence that has helped them navigate their own lives. I'm proud that me being myself, showing up and taking up space and letting people know we exist will slowly change culture. And you don't have to look very far to see this in action, especially all that changing culture stuff.
So let's talk about agosexuality.
Let's pause.
Yeah.
So agosexuality.
I've seen enough. And I actually got my handy dandy remote control in my hand, and I'm about to give a illustration. So what I'm seeing is, and it's funny that a lot of the world, they don't want to believe in Jesus. They don't want to believe in God, but because a lot of times they say, well, spirit isn't a real thing. So riddle me this. You're watching something and you are receiving. So like when you're watching something, it's just like if I press this button right here, this button is sending and receiving information. So what they're doing is they're sending and receiving information from whatever that they're watching, and then they are actually, I would say, things are morphing into them to where they're actually getting the same type of ailment that other person has. If that's not spiritual, I don't know what is, because you're not near it. You're nowhere physically in that area, but at the same time, you are adopting whatever that you saw. And as much as people want to be like, oh yes, this or that, no, you just accept it, and you just basically allow something to manifest itself in you to where you're so open to stuff. Because just think about it. When people say, I don't know my identity, I don't have a identity, we done went so far away from Christ, from the point to where you are allowing spiritual things to enter you, is because if you don't have a identity, anything can actually affect you. How come it's not affecting me? I scroll on TikTok just like anybody else.
You're not seeing the same content either.
Yeah.
So that's another, I'm saying like, that's another thing too, because the algorithm is smart. It knows what you're searching. And so it's kind of like how the enemy knows what we're dealing with, and it tries to come at us with those temptations to kind of lure us into something. But it's like, my temptation might not be yours, you know?
Agreed.
So things like that.
I mean, and I'm glad that you definitely said that. No. I like someone who has a different opinion.
It wasn't different. I was adding to it.
Or adding to it different, however you want to say it, you know. But
I agree with you.
But yeah, it's that it actually deep saddens me that people are actually going through that. Not having a identity is probably like the worst thing ever. And you can see it, like these kids are tormented, and I just gotta go back to where it all also begins at too. It begins with the male influence. Where are the fathers? The fathers have adopted this, this mindset of, because let me get this right, for these quote unquote alpha males who be telling the other men on how to be and all of that. Women and men do have masculine and feminine characteristics. But as a man, you don't allow your feminine characteristic to overtake that masculine characteristic. And so I'm actually shocked to what I'm seeing, is because I'm like, I always got to think about where I was during, their age, what I was doing, what I was worried about. You all want to know what I was worried about? I was worried about, of course, paying bills at 15, 16 years old. But at the same time, I really was enjoying being a kid, going to the mall, hanging out with my friends, us talking about the future, us laughing, us walking to the corner store to go get some fruities. And, fruities is like the little candy, the little fruit candy from the hood.
It sounds
store.
old. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something that y'all, wouldn't even know about.
Wouldn't.
Exactly.
I don't.
We build for it tough around here.
But I like what you were saying about influences and how different things around us can influence the way we act and perceive things and the way we absorb things. It kind of brings us to our scripture.
Mm-hmm. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Come back to your senses as you ought and stop sinning, for there are some who are ignorant of God, and I say this to your shame. Miracle. What does that, mean to you? What do you think about that scripture? How does that?
Well, like I said, bad company corrupts good character.
Yeah.
And it does. We like to think that we're immune from pretty much every bad influence that we believe is bad, but that's not necessarily true, because we always, there's a reason why God wants us to stay in the Word and every day die to ourselves in order to get to know Him and closer to Him, because He realizes that the influences of this world can be so strong and so powerful that we can fall victim to it at any day. And that's why when temptation comes, we have to resist it, because it can be hard to once you're already in it.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't believe that you're already healed, because you are. But if you don't have that mindset already, it's kind of like you're stuck in a place where you're constantly letting other things, other sins, other people overtake who God made you to be.
Exactly. And whether you're a Christian or not, I say go and, read the word for yourself, because us talking about the identity crisis and everything, which relates to the health epidemic. But what I was thinking, the unclean spirits or the, evil spirits, they call themselves they and them. They didn't have an identity because they actually need you as the host. So when you don't know who you are and you don't know who you was created for and what you was created for, you're susceptible and open to each and everything that is on the internet, in the world, what you're seeing. I promise you, because I will say, based on how I grew up and the strong male figures that I had in my life, Mr. Evans, which I call him my pops, my granddad, even like my stepdad. Like, I gotta give a shout out to those, men who really, helped me to grow, because it does take a village to raise a kid. And I got a chance to see what a real male was, and also what an imperfect, man is, and how that man should lead his family. And so it was something that it was like, hey, in my house, if you are living with me, you're going to go to church. And yes, there's something that I didn't want to do because I rebelled from it. It's because as in our fallen nature, that's something that we don't want to do. I don't want to go and get correction and reproof. I I really didn't. A lot of kids don't. When you correct a kid who's 2 years, I'm quite sure, with your niece, when she did something wrong, she'll put her head down. I'm sorry, because she already know, because it's actually instilled in them from a very, very early age. And that's why I said,
born sinners.
Yes, that information.
Shout out to J. Cole.
Yes,
but
album is fire. But yeah, that in itself, we just got to be knowledgeable and also understand that just because that someone is trying to, their intent, look at a person's intent rather than sometimes look at what they're saying. Come back to what they're saying, but look at the intent. Okay, this person, they have some type of passion behind of themselves. So I want to see why. You know, there are things that I never thought I would be open to, but I was like, you know what? Just because I don't know about it or understand it, because I could be ignorant in my understanding of certain things. So I'm going to open up myself to even listen, and then my spirit is going to make the decision whether it's good or, bad or,
discernment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's get to our Conscious Way quote. Will you read that too?
Yes, ma'am. There comes a point in time for every one of us where we need to make the painful choice to separate ourselves from the things that are hurting us. So what's hurting you, people? Put it down in the comments. So what's hurting you? It's time for us to not just have a real conversation, but we got to have some solutions after this. I want to help anybody that actually wants to be helped.
Yep.
Me with the culture, and I'm not just talking about Black culture, the culture in general, it's going down the shit drain right now. And I think that we see it, that's just a matter of fact. And I don't need to say anything else after this. It's problem after problem. So hey, what is the solution? I know the answer. It's simple. But I just let y'all just think about that. I love y'all though.
That was that was really good. You cracked me up. But yes, mental illness is a big thing now. And I mean, I think it's gonna take a lot for us to really understand where we are so we can come up with those solutions. But it's like you said, the answer is simple. Go back to the source.
Come on with it, sister. Come on with it. Look here.
We'll be right back. On the next segment, we're gonna talk about, is natural beauty fading at the hands of trends? Be right back.
Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. We are officially a part of the Quality Entertainment Network, and we are so happy to be here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And we're here to discuss the intersection of culture, faith, media, so we can inspire some practical solutions to some huge societal challenges that we're facing today. So let's work together to get this done.
What up, party people? We're back. We're back. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
Welcome back to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, okay? Leave your comments. Let us know how you like the content so we can keep bringing you more of this, okay? We're talking about the health epidemic. And excuse my voice, it is on its way out the door. I can't.
Yeah, it already left.
It really did. But we're talking about the health epidemic. Health pertaining to our physical, mental, and spiritual health, all encompassing, and how God views our health and how we can use the information from God's word to help us in navigating our health, right? So on this segment, we're going to talk about, is natural beauty dying at the hands of trends? What do you think about that?
Yeah, there's no simple, there's no long drawn out answer. It's yes. I know that people have been searching for so much beauty outside of themselves, they don't understand that everything is really inside them. All right.
Say it again.
I'm gonna give you an example. So, a oak tree, or even any type of seed. So, when it comes to a seed, it has everything inside of it. So, prime example. So a seed goes through a process or a phase of a germination, and so what happens is light actually hits that seed, and all the nutrients is already built inside that seed. And so what happens when that light happens,
the source.
Yes, it releases all the nutrients which actually help it to grow the roots. And then next thing you know, a few years later, you got a whole oak tree because everything was built inside of it. That little small seed, and all it took was that, light or whatever to actually bring it out. And so, because that was its natural state, and you're the best when you're in your natural state. I think what I love about the 90s, like Aaliyah, she appeared to be just like a beautiful soul. She didn't do too much to her makeup. She was naturally herself, and like people who did documentaries about her, they spoke about her in a way that she had a certain type of grace about herself.
Yeah,
and she was naturally beautiful from every point. And so that's why I said, and that's what we've been talking about, is that healthy mindset of this wave that a lot of people are adopting of this forget men, type of, movement. And, like that in itself is a very ugly trait, and it's being promoted because they're looking at men as just a object to get your resources up, or basically get funds and money from you. And so beauty isn't just external. We all see attractive people every day, and it can be something that that would totally throw me off. Like, yeah, this person isn't. They are maybe aesthetically pleasing, but nothing about you would want me to actually be around. So yeah, I truly believe that natural beauty is something that people are lacking, and it's also because of that family structure is actually gone, and the correction and reproof that we've been talking about. So
yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think natural beauty is definitely fading. I do believe there are segments and sections of people, who definitely adhere to the standards of what natural beauty is, especially as it pertains to people who are believers. And so, because we understand these things to be true, that, God made us, we're fearfully and wonderfully made in
Exactly.
His image, and so
We are His peculiar people.
Exactly.
You are.
Everybody. Absolutely. And so I want to get into this first video because it kind of shows where this trend of a fading natural beauty is taking us and what the consequences of that could look like.
So here's the thing. This could be a number of things. This could be genetic. It's called malar edema, where you have a lot more fluid retention around the eyes. If you've had filler before, and we don't know whether she's had filler in this area, filler attracts 1,000 times its weight in water. So particularly in the tear trough area, as well as the cheek. If you have fluid retention, it gets worse. And this is that unnatural appearance that you see in that area. If you already have fluid retention when you wake up with puffy eyes, it's not a good idea to have filler in that area because it will only get worse. If you've been over-injected in that area, this can occur too. So the best thing is to remove the filler safely and softly within that area to release the tension in that area, and hopefully the puffiness reduces. Sometimes these cases are even semi-permanent, so you have to be really careful where you go.
Was that it? Okay. I'll explain the context behind that video. So I think a couple weeks ago, Kylie Jenner, one of the Kardashians, she was at this event and people were noticing that she looked visibly older in her face. Like it looked flatter.
I didn't know that it was her.
Right. Like she looked way different, right? Her face is usually, pretty vivid and full and clear and things of that nature. But people were noticing that she looked older. And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? And a lot of people were suggesting that it could have been the filler finally like fading out of her face. Now, she hasn't confirmed whether she's had filler or not, but we do know Kylie Jenner specifically has a history of lying about the work she's had done to her body and to her face. Because, it all started with her lips. She used to say that she used to overline her lips to make them look bigger, but then she later confessed and said, no, I had lip injections. And so she does have a history of lying, and there is visible evidence to suggest that the filler in her face is now like basically messed up. Like, I don't know all the details. He explained it pretty well. So yeah, I wanted to show that video because that's a huge trend now of especially girls changing up their face and bodies, and it's like very common now. It was usually common in Hollywood, but now it's like commonplace amongst like the people. Like, it's not uncommon to go get Botox or filler or lip injections. It's not uncommon to do those kind of things out of us wanting to, look better for whatever trend is happening. Because, the BBL thing is into it now. When 30 years ago, everybody wanted the flat butt. Yeah. And now they want the Kim Kardashian big butt, which is funny because that's a whole different topic. But yeah, so we're at a point now where we see that natural beauty is no longer being prioritized, and even men are looking at this and they no longer prioritize natural beauty anymore as well. Because even with some of your friends, I remember asking you like a while ago, like, would some of your friends like date a girl with a BBL and stuff like that? And you're like, yeah, probably, if it looked good or whatever. And so I'm like, man, like it doesn't matter that specific thing isn't real. And it can, the whole like, getting work done thing and everything, there's not really a strict line to it, because a lot of people say, if you color your hair, that's not natural. And so that could be, I guess, counted as it. And so it treads really dangerous territory when you get to a point where, like, for example, in that video, you have long-term consequences that are showing up on your face and showing up on your body. It could potentially affect your health. there have been a lot of cases where, like, women are dying on the table from getting BBLs. And so we see that, women especially, men too, but I'm more so seeing it with women, where women are willing to literally die to look good for a trend, a fad that could fade out of existence in about 10 years. Yeah. So what do you think about all that?
What I think is you should not be getting a BBL if you don't have health insurance.
That's funny. I can agree with
I'm looking right dead into the camera on that. Because I know some people who got BBLs and you don't have a car. That makes zero sense.
Yeah.
And so you're going in debt for whatever reason. And I do know one girl, she's trying to hook a guy with some money, and it probably ain't gonna happen for you, baby girl. But I ain't gonna expose nobody. But yeah, it's actually just it's tough. It's because when I know a lot of people say that, like, hey, I'm different, I think different, but it's really because of the foundation that I have in Christ that I've always looked at women different. I always like more of like the natural thing. Before natural was even popular, I remember this girl that I was talking to in high school, when she cut her hair off, not gonna lie, I was like, why did you do that? That's what I was saying in my head, and I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna talk to her no more. She look like a little boy. She like a little handsome boy.
Okay.
And but after a while, I was like, you know what? Like, she was on a wave before it was popular, and I was like, you know what? She don't look too bad. And then she told me why, and then I started to look at things a lot differently than a lot of. And I was in 10th grade then. And, that was way before, that was a popular thing. And so this girl knew about her natural beauty way before it was a trend. And I think that it's you having to look in yourself and know, like, hey, I'm beautiful. Yes, I can do things to enhance my beauty without having to go far. Because what we're talking about now is health, and it's, that balance, and not going teeter-tottering to either, side too much or whatever. And so, that in itself is I just would like women in general to know that you are beautiful how you are, and you don't have to, like, things take time. If you want to do something different, like, find some natural remedies. It's always out there. Holistic, do your research. It's all online. It's simple.
Yeah, no, exactly. The story you told about the girl from high school reminds me of my own story when I went natural. I went natural when it was like not popular at all. I don't even really know why I did it, because I had permed hair most of my life because my grandma snuck and did it to me when I was like 5, and my mom was really upset about that, but had permed hair ever since then. But then in literally 10th grade or something, I randomly decided to go natural. I don't really know why I did it. I just never liked my hair, and I wanted to do something drastically different, and I didn't want to cut it. So I just started not getting perms anymore. And I remember, oh my God, because there were no natural hair videos online at this time. There was one, and it was a mixed girl. We had not the same texture of hair at all, but I still tried to do everything she did in the video. That was before, all the education about different hair textures and stuff like that. But I tried to go natural, and everybody around me was like, Miracle, just get a perm, please. And I'm like, you know what, just because y'all saying that, I'm definitely not getting one. Because it was my closest friend saying it too.
She wanted to be the divergent.
I wasn't trying to be different. I was just like, I'm tired of my hair and I want to like my hair. Let me just try this. Because my hair was always I love my hair, and it's always been really long and really thick, but it just wasn't giving the life that I would want it to give. And so I thought, okay, maybe going natural would be the answer, maybe. And so doing that caused a lot of people around me to see me differently, because they were like, oh my God, she don't know what she's doing with her hair right now. And I'm like, I really don't. I don't know what I'm doing with my hair right now. I would get mats in my hair, it would be matted up, and I didn't really have a plan for it. I just knew that I didn't want my hair to be what it was anymore. And so
you was out here looking like a chow chow.
I might have some pictures too. Oh, I do have pictures. They probably on Facebook. But yeah, it was a bad thing. But in the end, my point is, in the end, I realized I'm so glad that I did it, because I did end up loving my hair in the long run because of that, because I embraced what my natural texture is, and I embraced what my natural hair can do. And so that's very important, and it really brings us to our Conscious Way quote. Can you read it?
Of course. You will never be satisfied in the blessings God has given you if you are always looking at others.
I had to really stop looking at other people to determine what my worth was about my beauty, because I was tempted to get that perm again. I was like, dang, well, okay, maybe I should really get it, because I don't know what I'm doing with my hair. It looks bad. Like, it did look bad. It looked really bad.
Yeah, that Conscious Way quote is really, really profound, because it's something that God always wants us to look at. He always wants us to not look at your brother, but take the speck out of your eye to self-examine yourself. He always wants you to go in within and get a chance to, like, reveal some of the, hidden things about yourself that you may not, like, or things that you may need to grow on, because that right there shows like, hey, you still need me regardless, because you're going to forever be a growing entity, and everything should be reflected right back to me. And so, looking at others, and you will never be satisfied. The eye, it always says, like, the eye is the lamp of the soul. That's like a little quote that I heard, and it's something that you definitely got to just watch what you consuming. Because you're not going to be satisfied. It's always going to be another person that maybe look better than your person that you have, a better car. It's all about perspective. It's really about perspective and prospective. It was a video that I watched. It was probably 10 years ago. It was a guy that was he was in an apartment, and he was overlooking an apartment, and he saw a guy walking. But the guy in the apartment, he was in a wheelchair. He saw the guy walking, and he was like, man, I bet it was so great to be walking. And then the guy walking, his perspective, he was looking at the guy in the red car. He was like, man, I wish I had a car. And the guy in the red car, he saw somebody who had a fancier car. And then it just kept on going on and on. And so that right there shows that when you're looking too much at, outside things, it will make you ungrateful. And then that's when you become unbalanced, to the point to where that you always need these vices and things to be happy, because happiness can be fleeting all the time, so.
Yeah, exactly. That also brings us to our scripture, if you want.
All right. Galatians 1:10. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ.
Amen. Yeah, because ultimately, when you are looking to people for your validation instead of to Christ, you're essentially looking to be a servant of the people, not in the way that you should be with Christ. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Yeah, that's
self-explanatory. People.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what we've all been talking about since we've been on this, podcast. Like, you have to self-examine, and you got to go to a source that is biblically inspired by God, so you can equip yourself in this world, because it's tough for everybody. Like, neither one of us, me nor Miracle, or anyone regarding like this podcast, none of us are perfect. But the thing is, we want you all to grow in a way that you're sowing seeds in yourself, your future family, and your friends, and the people that you're surrounded, so that Christ can be magnified. We all are different members of a body, and so it's just you playing your part.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, what the world says you should look like is always going to change, and if you spend most of your time comparing yourself to other people, it can consume you. And so at the end of the day, look towards Christ for your identity, for your purpose, for your everything that you need regarding who you should be and who you are, because that's the only way you'll find it, because it's the foundational principle of the world. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, those are our thoughts. When we get back, we're going to be discussing, is fitness culture toxic? We'll find out.
All right.
Like for the algorithm.
Last one.
Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. We are officially a part of the Quality Entertainment Network, and we are so happy to be here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And we're here to discuss the intersection of culture, faith, media, so we can inspire some practical solutions to some huge societal challenges that we're facing today. So let's work together to get this done.
Okay, Miracle, what are you looking forward to the most with the weekly tea?
Let's see, what am I looking forward to the most? I always look forward to hearing the differing perspectives of my co-hosts. Because there are a lot of things that I don't personally think about when I'm looking at something. But when you have a completely different outlook on it, you get an inside look on what could be.
Yeah, I agree with that, because there are some things, it like expands upon my knowledge of it already.
Exactly.
Or I hear a perspective and you're like, huh. Like you said, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? What are you looking forward to the most with the weekly tea?
I think just the topics in general.
Nice.
Because I don't really like prepare before I come. I just like, I'm on the spot with it.
Yeah.
And you guys always pick a really interesting topic for the week that I didn't see across my social media.
Yeah,
so
you get a fresh look at it.
Yeah, I'm just like, wow, this is happening.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I wanted you to do this.
All right.
What up, party people? Welcome, quality people. Welcome, conscious people. Welcome to family. Okay, we're family here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And this is the Conscious Outlet Podcast. Make sure you like for the algorithm. I always forget that. Make sure you guys like
subscribe.
For the algorithm. Yes, hit that subscribe button so we can keep bringing you more content like this, and share the video, okay? Because we're in a health epidemic right now, and everyone needs to know this. We need to talk about this, right? So we're gonna talk about, is fitness culture toxic? Can it be? What do you think? Is fitness culture toxic?
Yeah, I think anything can be toxic when you don't have any hedges, and I think it's based on your perspective. it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, but I think what's happening is we're heading to a place of self-idolizing, and we're making ourselves our own God. And it's not, I'm gonna say part of it is about health, but a lot of it isn't. It's becoming about, people talking about themselves and putting and just showing themselves off 100% of the time or whatever. I don't think people know that they are doing it, but at the same time, it's, in my opinion, becoming more distasteful. Not saying that I haven't even did it when I was out there, promoting what I was promoting. Yeah, I was trying to help people with their mental health, like back in the day.
What were you promoting?
I was promoting me, but also like my knowledge. And
because you a brand.
Yeah, exactly. But like I knew that I was helping people, but at the same time I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a way to bring in women. It was kind of like how Derek, what's his name? Derek Jackson?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't doing what he was doing.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but wow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of people that's doing this.
I understand.
Because like, no shame. I mean, I've posted shirtless videos on my,
He does
Instagram.
Not anymore for those inquiring.
Yeah, I don't anymore. But it wasn't because of Mary, it was because of me.
Yes. I don't trust me. I don't make this man do anything.
Yeah. Trust me. I'm hard to put in a box because
can't put air in a box.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I
called you an airhead, basically. I'm kidding.
Well, actually, I'm the last airbender. So.
God. I'm so glad you're a fan now. I'll accept all the corny jokes because I'm glad you're a fan now. So
to be yes, exactly.
No. We're gonna talk about that live action one of these days too, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, but it's
but fitness culture.
It's self-idolatry.
So you think that contributes to its toxicity?
Yes, I think that's the reason why it's toxic. I actually don't think the health part is about it. I just think it just got to be balanced. At the end of the day, I know we've been saying that balance, but what actually makes it balanced is your intent behind it, and not it just being about you. Like, hey, we definitely care about you, and we understand people trying to make their money, do your thing, but. To me, it's almost cringy to me. Like, I saw a guy, he's a fitness guy, and it's also women too, but like I said, I look at things from a different perspective. Yeah. So you're filming yourself, whether you got your phone, you got two phones, or you got the camera, you filming yourself praying to God and telling people, hey, you need to pray, and which is good. But you got your shirt off and you're an attractive person, or it's
interesting.
It's not about God anymore because you're taking away from
the message, I guess.
Exactly.
Because it's distracting.
Exactly. It's just like if somebody came on here, butt a naked, and they do this podcast, you can be like, oh I understand we're talking about healthy eating, but those are some nice breast chicken. So
I know, right?
Yeah, so it's
kind of like the example I always give you where I'm like, I say when you tell people don't think about a purple elephant, what are they going to think of?
A purple elephant. Exactly. And I know from being what, like, some of my homegirls, they used to call me a
You're what?
Some of my friend girls,
You're who?
My friend girls. That's exactly what I said. I ain't gonna say it again. They told me that they was like, they said, Alan, you are a thought pocket. I was like, a thought pocket? I was like, what's that? But because they knew what I was doing. And I know what women was attracted to, a guy who can articulate themselves, and also seems like he understands. When, not saying that I was this guy, but some of the cats, like Derek Jackson, he was he was conniving and he wasn't living the life that, you know, he's telling a lot of other men. And because they know that, hey,
He was talking to women, not men.
But I know that, yeah. I know that Jackson was.
I know, I was, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Go ahead.
Okay, so what you're saying is influencer culture kind of makes fitness culture toxic.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, for the most. Yeah, I get it. I want to like dive into this video where he kind of addresses a lot of that, where he's discussing the ways in which fitness culture can be toxic.
Like dive in like Trey Songz?
That's, oh, I'm about to say it's a song.
Go.
I think Trey Songz got some court cases against him right now. But we'll pray for you, Trey Songz.
We seem to hear a lot nowadays is the fitness industry is so toxic or negative, something like that. What does that mean? Also, what are some things we can do to continue to thrive in this culture? And what are some things we can do to change it? But first, I asked some of our community members what it means. And apparently it means different things to different people. Some bring up gym etiquette, others bring up toxic social media influencers, and others bring up what might be considered unhealthy ideals. And the comment section of many videos across the internet were also brought up. So with that in mind, let's try to be respectful in this one. Maybe. So there are a lot of slightly different ideas on what makes fitness culture toxic, and I can't cover them all right now. So I want to focus on an underlying similarity, which is why would someone intentionally make another person feel bad or unwelcome? Now I know that doesn't cover everything people think is toxic. It's just what I want to focus on for this video. But first of all, I want to address something that some of you might be thinking. Is fitness culture toxic at all? Is anything toxic? And when I asked this to some community members who have wide-ranging beliefs, how many do you think said no? Fitness culture is not toxic at all. It's fine the way it is. Actually, very few. This surprised me. Even the ones who initially said no eventually changed their minds after we talked about it a little bit, and they said, yeah, that could be better. And some are basically the stereotypical gym bro. Look, I'm sorry. I love you guys, but you love the gym and your bros, so. And they brought up what I consider are some very valid concerns on how we treat each other. And this negativity should go against the ethos of fitness, which is largely about self-improvement. So that's something I wanted to address first. Because there are some people who think the word toxic is overused nowadays. They might feel like it's used to describe anything someone else likes. Maybe. There's some nuance to that. Slightly separate discussion. But my point is that all types of people seem to agree that there's something wrong with fitness culture. That it can be improved. So first I'll talk about why I think that is, and then give some ideas on how we can face these issues as a community. And not only continue to thrive despite a flawed culture, but perhaps improve the situation as a whole. Because we can do that. We can improve our situation. One of the good things, in my opinion, about fitness culture is the belief that we can improve ourselves. And one person's actions, you or me, may not have that much effect by themselves, but they can create a ripple effect. Because the people you positively affect can also positively affect other people. And when we do this with a few 100,000 or a few million people, then maybe we can start to notice some positive change. But let's revisit our question. Why would someone make someone else feel bad on purpose? So two things you can do to participate. First, when I ask that question, who do you picture in your mind? A gym teacher? Content creator you don't like? And secondly, do you think that person has good intentions? Because I think some of them might. My gym teacher probably thought that yelling at me could get me to do more push-ups. It didn't really. And it didn't get me to do fewer push-ups either. It was just noise to me. Sorry, coach. But some people do get motivated through being yelled at. And they try to motivate others in the same way because that's what worked for them. But unfortunately, not everyone responds to the same thing. And even more unfortunately, I don't think the majority do that from a place of purely good intentions. It's a hard thing to study and quantify exactly. But my experience is that even when some people claim they're saying something to help others, they might partially be saying it to help themselves. At least partially. Fitness culture has a problem. And part of that problem is a deep well of insecurity. An ocean of it.
It's a lot about what you were saying about how influencer culture makes fitness culture toxic because they play on those insecurities that he just said, you know? He also mentioned about how different people are motivated by different things and how
talked about that.
Maybe the intention of the person really isn't to be toxic at all, But to one person, it could be, and to another person, it could be motivation.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuances.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, I again follow a lot of like girls that go to the gym, right? And for a while, I would see their bodies and see like, oh man, I want my body to look like that, you know? And so for a while, the response I gave was more so coming from an insecurity. Whereas now that I'm working on myself and focusing on myself in that aspect, when I see them now, it's more motivational to me. When I see that, I'm like, okay, if I do this, or if I stick to this plan, then I can reach a level where it's similar. You know, I can reach my own personal body goals because I carve those out for myself instead of looking at what everyone else has. So
that's amazing. And it takes growth, and it takes self-discovery, and you understanding that, hey, you're not the same. You don't have the same body type as this person.
Yeah,
you don't have the
that's
same
important.
Molecular, composition. And yes, that's you growing as a person. You're seeking that self-improvement, as he was saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully this can create that ripple effect, what he was referencing to. For everyone to have their self-improvement. And we all realize that not everything is going to fit you perfectly. And when I say fit you perfectly, I'm talking about what people say and what they do. I don't even expect that. Just reading the book by the philosopher Immanuel Kant, it's utility calculus, the greater good for all. And so if it's beneficial for a majority of us, I can find something that I can, take from it and not be like, oh my God, he's skinny shaming me, or, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, he's just saying, hey, you need to get yourself together, like my boy Kevin and Samuel say,
Oh my goodness.
So.
But yeah, it's definitely how you choose to perceive it. That's for sure. And you can make steps to like perceive it differently. Either you can just simply choose to see it differently, or you can like kind of do what I did and kind of focus on yourself first and the things that you're missing, because that's what it was. Like the insecurities came from me understanding and knowing that I really wasn't working towards the goals that I really had for myself when I could have been. I could have been the whole time, instead of looking at these other girls who have the bodies that I supposedly dream of. And that energy could have been shifted towards that instead, So watch a little bit more.
A T-Rex dinosaur blew well Mount Everest of insecurity. And not just from the people who want to learn, but from the people who teach the stuff, the people who preach it. Wait, why are you all looking at me? I'm different. I'm the exception. I'm calling it out, so I'm the exception. I'm different. I'm on your side. That's what everyone says. Some might be right. But why do people teaching fitness, spreading this stuff, some of whom are very muscular, athletic, and let's face it, very good looking. Some of you are very handsome specimens. Why do these people we're learning from have so much insecurity? What are they insecure about? Well, part of it is how we're motivated and what we allow to motivate us. See, a lot of fit people weren't always that way. At least not to the degree they are now. And people who are dedicated enough in their craft to somehow make their way onto your radar, so you even know they exist, are often very motivated individuals. So what's motivating them? Different things. But sometimes, as many of you know, we're motivated by shame. Shame, and even deeper than that, fear is a very powerful motivator. It's hard to deny that. You take someone who's self-described motivated, and you have a bear chase them around, and suddenly they're running as fast as they can, getting their cardio in. Secret exercise. You just need bears. Who would have thought? In a similar but less extreme way, this is how some people shame themselves in the progress. I'm so fat, ugly, or otherwise undesirable, but I'm going to work hard until I no longer disgust myself. And that line, sorry, I know it was disturbing to some of you, drove some people to make great gains. They weren't as fit as they wanted to be, and now they are. Cool. But is that motivation sustainable? And even if it is, does it have any side effects? Now this is an interesting discussion that I think is best had as an actual back and forth discussion. Because I think some people would say no. Some people might have already paused the video and they're writing a comment about how shame actually worked for them. And they didn't have any side effects. And I'll admit, in a video like this, where we can't quite have that back and forth, I might not be able to give all the nuance and details. But I will add that people might define shame in different ways. For example, if you're 5 years old and you're in public school and you fart in class, everybody laughs at you because that's what a lot of kids do. You're embarrassed, and that's not great. But you also learn not to do this as an adult in a board meeting. So that's you learning based on a negative reaction you're getting. Some might say that's fine. Others might not. And even if it's not, I don't think that type of thing is entirely avoidable in our lives. And I do think it's okay for some people to show a little tough love on themselves if that's what they need to get themselves going. But to me, shame is a more extreme version of that. It's where you go beyond the point of learning and being helpful, and you start to feel some serious negative consequences. For example, if that kid that everyone laughed at got beat up later on, and then humiliated, and then refused to go to school, that would be bad. I can't convince everyone. But I'm quite wary of being okay with letting ourselves be controlled by our fears and insecurities. Because yes, it can motivate you towards good things like physical health. But if we don't learn to reconcile our insecurities and keep them at bay, then they might control us in ways we don't expect. If you thought you were ugly or unworthy as a human before you got fit because you were overweight, let's say, does that nag at you a little bit if you put on some extra weight and someone points it out? How do you react? What if you get sick and you have to stay home for a few weeks? Do you feel like you're less of a person because of that? What are you going to do when you get older and your appearance and your physical ability isn't quite what it used to be? And more to the point of this video.
I feel a little convicted, like a little bit, I do. Because I've thought about these things, like me getting older. You know, I talked about earlier how I've been having random pains. I've been doing a lot more mobility exercises when I go to the gym. And I've thought about the 2 weeks that I did not go to the gym because I had the flu. And I thought about how it affected the way I allowed my insecurities to control myself during those periods of times where I was thinking of myself in that way. And so I feel a little convicted because I'm thinking to myself, am I allowing my insecurities to control me? Because he asked a good question, is shame a sustainable motivator? It's a motivator, but is it sustainable? Because I remember being in school and being shamed for being skinny.
Yeah.
Like I was really skinny. I was just skinny. So people, especially kids, because kids are mean, would always comment on how skinny I was, how I didn't have a butt, I had no boobs and stuff like that. You know, I'm really little, I need to eat, I need meat on my bones.
So you like a handsome boy?
Yeah, I look like a 12-year-old boy, like, you know, things like that. So I can laugh at it now. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe I'm not allowing those things to control me, but it's like, am I to a degree, and is that sustainable? Like, these are good questions.
Yeah, and
does that make the culture toxic sometimes, to a degree?
Yeah. I think it's just like you said, there's a lot of nuances to it, but I don't think that in itself makes it toxic. I think just how you actually receive information and what it's rooted in. You know, I see if you watch something long enough, you're going to see the fruits of it.
Yeah.
The fruits is going to come out. Like, you know, I've watched stuff to where I even watched pastors talk about things, and I'm like, man, he's a great pastor. Kept on listening to him. I'm like, man, this man full of stuff, you know. So it's crazy, is because the thing is, we're so quick to try to let our voice be heard, and so we're quick to try to respond to something instead of letting things simmer like neck bone juice, you know? Understanding that, like, hey, you know, sometimes let stuff simmer, like, you know, like press wine, and you know, understand, okay, let me spread my taste palette of, okay, this has notes of this, but I may not agree with this, but okay, I get I get the whole gist of it. And so that is where I think that people should be focused on.
Yeah.
Not just, oh, they said something that I don't agree with, because I kind of spoke about that earlier with the guy. That anytime I say something about something that triggers him to be a better version of himself, he think it's attack, but it's not. It's the same thing what he's saying, because he's motivated by shame, and that shame is basically metastasized into a response to for you to respond and defend yourself and stuff like that. Because yeah.
That's true. You can definitely respond to shame in different ways. Sometimes you get defensive, or sometimes you get insecure. And I've done all of it. I think I've responded to shame.
Everybody has. To be honest, everybody has.
Exactly. I think I've definitely responded to shame in different ways.
We're human. All at the conscious outlet. We just, kick back and we just, letting stuff flow. We letting it flow. Just letting it flow.
Yeah, we stopped the flow because I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
We'll watch a little bit more.
The show will go on.
Lead you to treat others. Because sometimes you lash out. Right? We're not at our best or our friendliest when we're insecure and anxious. Or hungry, I guess. But that's a separate discussion. A lot of separate discussions in this one. But even the way you act towards people you love might be affected. The most obvious example might be a negative form of love, where you figured that because you were shamed in progress, others can be too. That's the good intentions part. The other part is everything else. When we feel jealous and speak negatively towards someone, just because we perceive the progress as a threat, that's not a healthy thought, friend. When we hear and see negative comments, not criticism, which is different, but just hate for no reason, those people are usually not doing great. Of all the wonderful ways in the human experience that we could be spending our free times, which is often scarce. Leaving troll comments online is a strange one. But I think a lot of them, fortunately, are from people who are doing poorly. In my experience, people who are truly happy and doing well usually aren't trying to tear down others for no reason. Misery loves company. People rot with their own troubles and insecurity, often want to bring down others too. Yes, they are making others suffer, but they themselves are sometimes suffer. And no, it doesn't always excuse.
Yeah, I know. With myself, with trolls, I know that there's something that that Miracle kind of affects her, but it doesn't affect me. She's like, hey, this troll is writing this about the conscious outlet. I'd be like, let him write it. Don't even delete it. Let him write it.
I'm not really like that with trolls. I'm like that with people that I know.
I don't think you knew this person.
What? It was a random comment on a YouTube video?
He was like, yeah, I just think they're trolling all of a sudden.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and I didn't care because I knew that, hey.
Well, they were on my TikTok, so I'm gonna delete it if I want to.
They were, to me, if the intent behind it and visibly is not like anything that we say is just like verbally abusing someone or being just outlandish. I'm like, no, you convicted because you convicted. It don't got nothing to do with me, you, or anybody else.
And that's what he was saying. Like, usually when people do things like that, it's because they're not living the life that they want. And that's what I was basically trying to say about myself when it comes to fitness and when it came to the motivation I got from seeing the women with the bodies that I wanted. Like, I was using that as motivation to keep going in my own journey. So, yeah. Because I wasn't happy with where I was, you know?
I do. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. Let's bring out our conscious way quote.
Instead of comparing yourself to others in the fitness culture, embrace the unique body that you have been given and focus on becoming the healthiest version of yourself, rather than striving for a idolized image. I don't think we have to even comment on that.
I've definitely had to learn to take my own quotes advice.
Oh yeah.
Accepting my body for what it is definitely has been long journey.
Yeah.
But it really does feel good and freeing once you're there. So
yeah.
Let's bring up the scripture as well.
Psalms 139:14. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well.
And it's amazing when you can fully accept that.
When you fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah. And I know that full well. That means I believe that. It's more than a belief. I know it.
Come on, sister. Give them a word. Give them a word on this Sunday.
Yes. Any last minute thoughts?
Last minute thoughts would be
on
community.
Fitness culture.
Get you a community of someone who's going to challenge you in more ways than one, not just from a physical standpoint. I am a person, I would scream to the tops of the hills and mountains for you to be in diversity. You know, I know now diversity is being axed at, you know, a lot of places and a lot of colleges and stuff like that. But diversity is important with community so that you can be around someone who just has a good friendship that you all can feed off each other and grow from. And we can also be that outlet too. We can be that conscious outlet.
That was cute.
Yeah. I hope y'all caught that. The name.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well, those are our thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so
episode.
much.
Yes.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Share the video. It's very, very important for us to reach our goal. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers.
That's right.
And we will do it.
Yeah.
And it will be sooner than later.
Yeah. Make sure you read our Substack too, The Art of Practical Religion. We've a lot of good nuggets in there, and it won't be free forever. So
exactly, and we are spending our time and effort of putting out this information, and so it's a lot more than us just being on the podcast and talking about. There's a lot of things that goes on from the design standpoint, from the communication standpoint, and us just actually being here and me having to drive 2.5 hours or 2 hours to even just be here.
Yep.
To deliver some good energy and some good quality. So just know that I am y'all favorite uncle. So
all right,
or your favorite cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, I can be all of it.
We appreciate you guys. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
This was the Conscious Outlet Podcast.
And we out. Thank you.